too cold.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm going to be doing a bit of a different video today that's actually not discussing about the likes of blockchain, crypto and stuff. I'm actually going to be doing a couple of different markets, mainly looking at stocks. To be honest, looking at stocks here now, I think there's a bit of a shift coming. Personally, I don't own any stocks. For me, for a good while, even since I started trading, I knew stocks were way too overvalued. Like there's no profitability to be even kind of made with them at the minute, due to the high prices they're kind of at. And effectively, I'm just going to give you a rundown on what I'm kind of picking up from various different types of shares and stuff. So the first one obviously being I'm looking at here is Apple. So look, since 2020 we had a big fucking run up, right? This is kind of in and around where I started learning how to trade, right? Hypothetically. And we were obviously trading at these low prices down here, and ever since we've just been going up. Each one of these candles representing a month. So here we are now in 2025. But from what I can personally grasp when I'm looking at, obviously I've had a good bit of a glance looking through different various markets and stuff, and different various companies, which I will show you. But to be honest, it's starting to look a bit bearish, and I think there is going to be a massive shift in terms of sentiment and where the market's actually going to want to reach into. So I'm just going to highlight some things that I have basically here in front of me, and I'll try to do my best. And yeah, so look, straight away here on a monthly time frame on Apple, this looks to me like a perfect reversal, right? So it swept that high there. Now it's starting to trade off of that level. We have equal lows here. Well, not equal lows, double bottom should I say. So it's a retail trading pattern right there. So there's going to be liquidity residing under that point. So I'll just note that here. So just note liquidity. There we go. Now also here we have a fair value gap down here. I can actually note that in black. So as you can see there, so that's at 81 a share. But I'm actually going to go onto the higher time frame here just to show. So I'm looking at a 12-month time frame, which is a big time frame. I personally don't use it, but you want to see right here. What can anyone see around here? Right, so straight away we have a volume imbalance right there. Okay, another point of reference, we have an area that needs sell side delivery right here, and that was formed back in 2015, and this candle was formed in 2019. But if you look predominantly at like the monthly time frame here, right, so look at kind of like the volume of these candles, alright? So they're not big formed candles, alright? Whereas when you compare it over here, look how big this candle is. They want to move, and they want to move quick. So actually I don't really like the way that's just overlapped there, but I've already shown you there. But that's basically volume imbalance there on the 12-month time frame. Ultimately here we want to get into this buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, and ultimately there's been a missing area of sell side delivery here, so that needs to fill that and needs to come back down. Would it come lower than that? Let me just have a look here again. See, when I'm doing my price analysis, I'm not actually looking at like anything really but the charts. The chart for me has all the information there I actually need. Here we have little imbalances here. Nothing really too distinctive, I might say. Liquidity residing under that swing low right here, and also down here if you look, boom. Now this is pre-2008 or post-2008 should I say. How fucking mental would it be if we could get in at those price levels there? So for everyone that's been buying up and being told to buy stocks and buy shares and do this yada yada yada, when ultimately these are the levels it needs to reprice to eventually. I don't know how long it'll take, but it needs to come back into these levels. So here we have that all there. We have trendline phantom right here. So there's liquidity residing under that there as well. Good old ICT, PD raise. But these are all viable levels that I don't see why I wouldn't want to come down to. And for me, that just looks like a perfect reversal right there. Take this liquidity, take this, fill this in here. Might meander around here and then come into here. But if it comes down into these levels here, man, the world's gonna go fucking crazy, because it's not just Apple that's doing this. It's other assets and other stocks that are doing it as well. Like for me, I've already been calling, like in the season, everything like the Nasdaq, S&P 500, Dow. I've been calling them all lower, and if they go lower, well, these will too. But the proof is in the pudding here. Like, these have to be all repriced back into these. These are all levels that it effectively has to come back out into. So obviously do your own research in terms of, don't just go out and take my advice for it. Go into the charts and have a look yourself. Don't take this as financial advice, but what I'm saying is I'm not buying stocks, and I think we are going to have a nice bit of a sell-off. Let me just look at Microsoft here. Kind of similar, same little pattern there. It's not as distinctive, but it's there. So let me just show you here. I just want to look at a higher time frame first. Looks more distinctive here on a 3 month in terms of like a reversal there. Oh, sorry, just trying to get that straight. And then on the monthly, like, it looks a bit more messy. There's not a lot of volume to these candles, but still, as it says, we have liquidity residing under here, under here. So I'm just gonna change these colors because I like to note my liquidity in green. There we go. I'm gonna actually change that to there. So the liquidity residing under there. Let me just break this up into a higher time frame here again. So what are we working with here? We have a fair value gap right there. Look, that's fucking trading at what, like nearly $391 at the minute, and I'm eyeing that up to come down to like into these levels here. So knowing these things beforehand and actually being able to capitalize on it when it gets down to these levels it's amazing. Also down here, like $37 for a share of Microsoft. Like, for me, I'd love to build up a portfolio of a lot of stocks, get dividends paid, and just start getting passive incomes through that. Obviously means, but for me it doesn't actually make sense to be going in and buying stocks when I have a good idea that the market is going to start taking off, and probably will do it quite quickly, I would like to think. But here, let me just see else what we got. And these are just simple concepts. Like, all I've did is now just fucking areas of liquidity, reversals potentially, and just noting it. Like, where do we have a shift in structure? Here. Sorry, I'm just gonna, I hate when that magnet gets attached. Oh. Right, that'll do. Market structure shift right here. Would have broke that low. That's a shift right there. A little small fair value gap right here. It's already tapped into there. Playing around here. The only thing I don't like is all these gaps. But I always get that in stocks anyway. There's a lot of gaps. I just like more refined candles, I suppose. But these are some areas that mine up on Microsoft. Here we have another one down here. So these all need to be repriced with selling. Okay. So what's that? 266, eventually down to 219, down to these levels. So here we have the COVID run. All it did was run up there. But like, look at all these gaps in here. Like, these all have to be filled. So like, I'll just show you here. I'm ignoring that candle there just to show the wick. Or not the wick, what am I saying? I'm ignoring that candle there this to me is just one big volume imbalance right in there. Like, these levels have to be repriced out. It's not a question of whether they do or they don't. They actually have to be repriced out. That's how prices works. I was looking, was it Google? Yeah, Google again. Look, that even looks more bearish. So here we go. And like, this will be nuts. Like, this will be fucking nuts if all of these start doing exactly what I'm saying here, because one, it's like a reset for all equities. Second of all, I don't own any, so I'm not going to be affected by it, but there's going to be a lot of people who are misinformed and are just going to basically hold on for dear life, and that mightn't necessarily work out. This is the thing what I love as well. Like, obviously I talk about pulse chain and crypto and stuff, but the general census for anyone in finance or in the investment markets or whatever, buy and hold. Yeah, that's great when it's going up, but when you're basically holding on to something that's not going to keep going up, it doesn't exactly work. So you need to be able to understand where prices wanting to reach down to and why it's wanting to do it, and basically how far can it go. Like, I don't really know how far it will go, but these are all the levels where I'm pretty confident we will probably want to reach back into, and if it does, as I said, I don't own any stocks personally. For me though, all the better if they do, because as I said, I would love to have a dividend portfolio built up and own plenty of shares in all of these companies, so that eventually when the time comes and they are all pumping eventually back to the all-time highs, I have a fair chunk of shares and I can actually gain from that, because as I says, I don't own stocks at the minute. I think they're way too overvalued and it just doesn't make actually sense to own them. But knowing where these areas are that probably will want to reach down into, it is a good thing to kind of know. So look here, looking at the, I'm just going to go back up here. Like, there's just loads of little imbalances here. Like, it's all imbalances, like $33 right there. Go back out in here to a, where was I? Was that a 6 month there? I think it was here. Yeah, so volume imbalance right there. Fair value gap in here. In here. Liquidity residing under this low. And like, this looks like, you can't tell me this doesn't look like a perfect reversal. So let me just see here. Reversal right up in this bitch. Note that here. Okay, trap everyone who's went long, sell it off. We have a breakaway gap here, more liquidity residing under here. Oh, sorry. Here, it's a trend line phantom right there. See the way it's all like engineered, so low, 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 like trend lines. Don't trade that either. So there's liquidity residing under these points here. There we go. And like, look, that's, we're on a weekly time frame at the minute, but like, look how sluggish these candles are here. Just small ranges. Yeah, it's moving, but compare it to here, now it's starting to speed up. Do you know what I mean? So if we do start making heavy runs down into these prices, personally, because I don't own stocks, I would be happy, but I feel bad for the general world because a lot of them don't really know what's going on, and it's kind of shit, but I put in the work, so I deserve it. Amazon, same thing, reversal there. Tesla was a big one. Now I was looking at that already, like, this looks very big. So sweeping liquidity residing up above here, rejection right up here, rejected off of that high. We have lows here, so double bottom. This is liquidity residing under them right here. Okay, I'm going to actually break it up into a higher time frame just to see. We technically have the bottom of this imbalance here, so well, if you look actually really closely, there's a volume imbalance right there. So just note that here. Like, this is Tesla. Like, Elon Musk is one of the richest people in the world at the minute, and if that goes down to fucking 28, like, dude, there's a lot of money to be made there. Now, they obviously don't pay any sort of dividends or anything, which it is what it is, but like, even just the gains you'd be making is fucking nuts. So even all this, like, I don't even pay attention to any of this shit. I probably should. I don't really listen to any of that. I just listen to the price action, to be honest. Because just because they had a bad earnings, it doesn't, for me, mean anything. Yeah, I know it's over here, but I think it's just doing a reversal, and that's just something that I think I don't really listen to anything really, like, in terms of like anything that's not the chart. I know it's a weird thing to say, but like, the chart gives me all the information I need, and it served me well. So like, this is fucking nuts. Like, from 500 nearly, and it's basically halved in the space of what, 3 months and a bit, compared to all these like small little ranges. Like, look how fucking fast that is moving, you know. I know 3 months and a bit isn't exactly fast, but it is as well. When you kind of think about it, like, the whole board is being kind of wiped. Meta doesn't really look that prevalent. Procter & Gamble doesn't really look prevalent. Like, it's there, but it looks a bit choppy, to be honest. Pfizer, even, like, the amount of people, like, guaranteed that bought shares in Pfizer when all the COVID shit was happening, and they rolled it all the way up into here, probably didn't sell it thinking it was going to go forever, and now we're down here. Basically before even COVID prices, like, you know. So it does help to know what you're kind of looking at here. So, buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, liquidity residing under here, under the swing low, and what's that, like €6.87 for shares in Pfizer. Like, that's nuts. Do you know what I mean? Compared to, imagine buying up here for 60. You put 100 quid in, you're not even getting 2 shares. Whereas if you do it here, you're getting multiple shares. BlackRock is another bad boy that I wanted to buy in, because they actually do pay a pretty good dividend. I think it's like let's see the most recent one, like 5.21 per dividend. Like, that's really fucking good. But again, like, what's that trading at now? 9.51. Why would I bother buying in at that price? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, 950 for one share, no thanks. Whereas if I done it here, let's say I put 1,000 in, I have 10 shares. Vast difference. Do you know what I mean? Vast difference. And like, you can say, yeah, they're one of the biggest asset managers in the world, yada 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 yada. Well, I don't really give a shit about any of that, because I'm looking at the chart, and to be honest, I'm probably better at reading the chart than half of their fucking technical analysis anyway, so fuck them, in my opinion. More liquidity residing under there. We have equal lows there at 275 a share. I was looking at these big AMD stocks and like Intel and stuff. It's also mad. Nike, I think, was the same as well. Yeah, so look how much these have sold off, and I feel like nobody's talking about it, like, at all. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know where you guys live, but Nike, where I'm living, is like one of the biggest fucking brands in the country. Everyone's wearing it, and for some reason, it's after basically losing so much of its value since 2021, and I would still think they are making a lot of fucking money, but this is a good opportunity to get in on a very stock like Nike. We have more levels down here that look interesting. So 47.25 a share. What did I have that note down here as? Yeah, so an imbalance down here, and that candle's high to that candle's low. You could really look at it there, but I'm using this one here, and that's like 16.52 a share. Like, the money is there to be made. Netflix, surprisingly, I think I was looking at this as well. It does have the look of a rejection here. Hasn't really made much movement though. But again, it's definitely there. McDonald's, that is somewhere I'd probably like to fucking have shares in eventually, but again, way too fucking overpriced, so wouldn't be interested. Coca-Cola would be the same, massive brand and still really fucking high, so again, no interest in owning that. But I mean, let's see here, I don't see it just yet for sales, but the future will always tell. Here's another one I'm looking at, Intel, another massive computing firm, and look how low we are now. We're trading at 24.26 a share. I can see it going down to under 12.95 share, even lower probably, and it's done. Nobody's been talking about this, and I feel like that's kind of crazy, because I feel like this is the thing that people should be talking about, but nobody is. Where else am you looking? PayPal's also really down low. IBM, I think, are pumping quite high, yeah, so don't see it just yet, but I can see it more captivating on other assets, or other markets, should I say. UPS, another one, volume imbalance right there. Couldn't even tell you when I had that noted, but there you go. And that was formed in 2020, cleanly delivered into that. Liquidity residing right under these lows. Yeah, that's pretty much all I just kind of wanted to kind of show. Look, I may as well actually show the links. Actually, do you know what, I'm not even going to bother. I was going to show the various indexes and stuff, but it's kind of the same thing you're basically looking at. But yeah, look, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll talk to you next time.